it's Joyel and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I am collabing with 4C Only and telling some hair horror stories. But of course, before we get started, please don't forget to click that subscribe button down below. And if you're the owner of a business, especially a black-owned business, please send me an email at SharmaineJoyel@gmail.com. But let's get started. So today I'm going to be telling you a couple of natural hair horror stories while you guys watch me wash my hair using the 4C Only line. So no ASMR, just a voiceover with some stories. So let's start the wash day. But this first story has to do with going to Wyoming to visit some family. Very, very small town, not very diverse, about an hour outside of Yellowstone. But one of the days that I stayed there, I decided that I would take a walk downtown, which I made a mistake on. I had GPS on the driving instructions, so I thought it was a 20-minute walk when it was really a 20-minute drive, but a 3-hour walk. As I'm on this walk, I happened to pass by a gas station. That day, I had my hair, my natural hair out, and as you guys have seen, my hair is very long now. It's very thick, it's very dense, it's very afro-y. Everything that I love about natural hair. But to the people in this town, it was not something they have either A, ever seen before, or very often see. I'm walking by the gas station when I hear, "Is that a mop on top of your head?" And I kid you not, I literally stopped dead in my tracks and I was like, "Excuse you?" And I looked to my right and there's this old man standing next to his truck, just gawking at me and using his hands like this to motion just how big my hair was. I turned to him and I said, "No, this is my natural hair." Obviously, I'm in shock that someone would just yell that at me. Then to make matters worse, he goes, "Well, we don't see too much of your kind around here." Fear, absolute fear struck my heart. I was like, this man is about to take me out. Like, it is so obvious that I am not very welcomed here. And he just stared me down, and I didn't really know what to say because obviously I was caught off guard by what he said. I just nodded, I told him to have a good day, and I carried on downtown. That's honestly probably one of the weirdest things that's ever been said to me. I've never had my hair compared to a mop. Also, just the outbursts that that came from this man, and also being told that he clearly, or that the people of this town clearly don't see too many black or biracial people. I'm not shocked. Everywhere I went, I stood out like a sore thumb. This next encounter, or this next story, is something that tends to happen to me quite frequently, even living here in Arizona, especially as my hair has grown out. Once more, we were visiting family. This time, we were up in Oregon. I'm originally from Washington. My fiance's family is from Oregon. We had made a stop at a store downtown. Again, a really, really small, not diverse at all town. Very small, predominantly Caucasian town. We made a stop into this little feed store, and this guy, another older white gentleman, is just staring at me like hardcore. And this day I had my afro worn out. As usual, it's how I typically style my hair. It's what my hair just naturally looks like and how I love wearing it. But he's just staring at me. As soon as I look at him, doesn't say a word to me, doesn't say anything. He just goes, "Whoa, whoa." And again, I'm just like embarrassed because it's just like, why does that need to be pointed out? I am fully aware of how my hair looks. But here's the thing, this tends to happen to me a lot, even here in Arizona. I was grocery shopping just a couple weeks ago when I look up, I was looking at some fruit and I look up and this man just walks by and he just goes, I don't know why this is a common thing, and it's usually with men. It's with men. I don't usually have it happen with women. Men, for some reason, it's like they just lose it's like they lose the ability to speak, and they for some reason have to motion with their hands how big they think my hair is. It's very weird. It makes me feel very uncomfortable. And I don't know why that specifically has become a common occurrence in my life, but it's very, very odd. Another weird, kind of odd encounter I had was when I was still working my 9-to-5 job. I used to work front desk, and I was volunteering and filling in a spot for a girl who had called out sick. One of the patients comes in, and obviously I'm a new face to her. She doesn't recognize me, but she just goes, "Oh my gosh, I love your hair." But then she got really, really weird when she goes, "Can you stand up for a second? I know you're mixed race. I want to guess what it is, because I see your hair and I want to guess what you're mixed with. I'm like, excuse me? Why does this happen to me? This is so weird. Like, I swear, like, you would think that like Afro hair types or black people or biracial people, they're not like an alien. We're not aliens. We're not that rare. So I'm always quite surprised by how people tend to react to black people, to biracial people, to people with natural Afro hair. It's very uncomfortable. I have a very specific memory of being very young, and my mom happened to have combed my hair out that day. I don't know what happened. They were like in the aisle over or something, but I just felt this hand reach down into my hair and scratch my scalp, and I'm like, I stop because I'm like, who's touching me? And I look up and it's just this older couple, again, older white couple, just knuckle deep into my hair. And I'm just like, I don't know you, don't touch me. Like, I'm in shock. I'm a kid, I didn't know what to do. And then of course, luckily my mother rounds the corner and is like, excuse me, don't touch my child. Brings me towards her, and the couple is just like, oh, I'm sorry, you know, I love her hair, blah, blah, blah. I'm not a petting zoo. We're not animals. My hair is not an invite for you to just touch me whenever you feel like it. This next story is also probably one of the more awkward, definitely one of the more awkward instances that I have been involved in, but I was once again working up front office. We were supposed to be waiting for a lady to come in to pick up some retainers, and she comes in and introduces herself, but instead of just going to sit down, she comes and leans up on the podium and she's just staring at me. So I'm like, how do I make this less awkward? Because I don't know if she just wants to stand or if she wants to talk to me. Well, she wanted to talk to me. As we're talking, she just kind of blurts out, are you mixed? And I said, yeah, I am. She goes, are you half black? And I was like, I am. I'm half black and half white. And she goes, oh, I have one of those too. Now my first thought is, you have one of what? Like, you mean you have a biracial child? But the way that she says, oh, I have one of those too, it's like, lady, we're not like a mixed breed puppy you just adopted. That alone made me feel completely uncomfortable, and I was like, this conversation needs to end. So I'm just like staring at her. But then this lady takes it to a whole other level of awkwardness. And also, not only does she make this more awkward, she also insults me at the same time by going, except she has good hair, like mine. I'm laughing now, but in the moment, I was not laughing. I was incredibly pissed off and annoyed that she had said that because I was wearing my afro that day. And I'm like, so you look at me and not only insinuate that I'm some sort of, you know, you speak about me and your child as if we're sort of some sort of like mixed breed dog, but you also choose to insult my hair by saying that your daughter has good hair like yours, unlike mine. Instead of exhausting my energy by giving her any more attention, I just stared at her. No emotion. And clearly she realized she messed up because she just started awkwardly laughing and got very, very nervous and just kind of backed up away from me and then sat away from me. I had kind of let her know that this conversation was done and that you have crossed a line. Another horror story that I had was actually right after I had Big Chopped, and I would usually go into a Sally's store that was up the street from my parents' house. When I still had my relaxed hair, this was actually a week before I Big Chopped, I walked into the store, the girl up front, you know, hi, how are you? Please let me know if you need anything. You know, stayed up front the whole time, no issues. I come in a week later after having Big Chopped. You know, I have shorter, a TWA at this point. And I go in because I was actually picking up some braiding hair from my mother. My sister and I were gonna help braid my mom's hair. I walk in, no introduction. You know, I wave, I go over to the braiding hair section, and I happen to look over up to the front and this girl is gone. I'm like, okay, maybe she's helping somebody. No, she was down the other side of the aisle, peeking around the corner staring at me, like watching me, and pacing up and down the aisle. Clearly she doesn't recognize me from last week now that my hair has been cut. But that was one of the first instances for me where wearing my natural hair made it more obvious of my blackness. That was my eye-opening moment of how my hair was going to change how people interacted with me. I'm able to kind of laugh at some of these stories now, but like in the instances that they happened, obviously I wasn't laughing. I was hurt. And then the last story I'm gonna tell, and I had actually uploaded a video on this, you know, I wanna say it's probably been about 2 years now, where I was walking my dogs at night. Had my hair out, had my afro out. I'm almost back to the house. I'm literally like a street up from the house when a man on a bike decides to ride up behind me and smack me as hard as he can in the back of my head, just open palm, smacked me as hard as he could. I mean, my head flew forward and everything. Never saw his face. I only saw his back. It's night. He was wearing like probably navy blue or black. I can't, it's a dark color. So clearly I never got to see this man's face. And whether people are purposely trying to hurt me or just out of curiosity, the only part of my natural hair journey that I've not enjoyed is that people for some reason feel invited to put hands on me. But of course, this doesn't change how I view my natural hair, and it doesn't deter me from wearing my natural hair. You know, this is me. I love every inch and every kink on my head, and I have just come to terms with the fact that some people just can't handle it. Some people just cannot control themselves in the presence of all this. The compliments, the intimidation, you know, however I make others feel. I'm not changing me. When I first started my channel, I used to get a lot of comments about how it was a shame that I had such nappy hair. But I never felt that way. And as my channel has continued to grow, you know, those comments have died out. It just goes to show, like, the more you stand up for yourself, the more you appreciate yourself. It doesn't really matter what those people say. So I hope that those who are on their natural hair journey, whether you are just starting or a couple years in like myself, you know, keep going. Your hair is unique and beautiful just as much as you are, and you gotta stand in all of its glory. No matter what it brings, that's you. And I want to give a shout out to 4C Only for not only providing products to help those with afro-textured type 4C hair take care of it, but for creating a platform that glorifies it and truly shows love and prioritizes it. So I hope that you guys enjoyed these hair horror stories. I hope you all have a wonderful Halloween. Please don't forget to click that subscribe button down below. Keep blooming, and I'll see you guys in my next video.